Hello teachers, and thank you so much for joining this community live stream on the Teaching English Facebook page, brought to you by the British Council. Today we're going to help answer the question, how to give inclusive instructions. My name is Marcus James, I'm part of the Teaching English team, and with me today we have Serrana Muniz. How are you today, Serrana?
Hello Marcus, I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. So you're part of the team that have been working on this new research publication. Could you tell us a little bit about it? I'm going to pop it up on screen so the audience can see what we're talking about. So it's called Toolkit for Inclusive Teaching Strategies. What can teachers get out of it?
Great, thank you. Well, actually, this toolkit was developed by Learn Jammed. It was commissioned by the British Council Americas. And it's a toolkit that is based on research. They conducted research in remote classrooms. And based on that, they produced this toolkit, which has a myriad of strategies and, actually principles and strategies that can be used in the class to make it more inclusive and to make sure that we are tending to the needs of the diversity of learners that we may have in our classrooms. So it's divided into 7 modules, but they don't have to be used in order. You can start at any point if you find that any of these areas are the ones that you find more challenging. I believe that the great thing about it is that it's very practical. There's lots of practical tips and things and very simple things that we can do to make adaptations to make sure that all our learners will be able to thrive in our lessons.
Excellent. Of course, as you see on screen there, the 7 modules there. And so the title of today's live discussion is basically looking at module 3, how to give inclusive instructions. So I'm just going to dive into, I need to find what page number it was. I think it was 30, wasn't it, for module 3? That's right. So we're going to be looking at how to give inclusive instructions in this part. Before we get started, there was a lovely little quote here from a student. And teachers watching, if you can see that quote, it's a case study from Matteo. Matteo says, sometimes when I'm in class, I get lost. I mix up the instructions or do things in the wrong order, as I usually only remember the first or last part of what I'm supposed to do. I feel confused when the rest of the class understands what to do. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Teachers, let us know in the comments if you have a student like Matteo. It's more common than we think, though, Serrana, isn't it? Matteo's situation.
Yes, absolutely. And I think something that is very important is that many learners, not just learners with special educational needs, at some point in their lives have felt like Matteo. Well, I know I have as a student myself.
Okay, so we'll wait for a few teachers to pop their comments in. I can see we're being joined actually from by teachers in your part of the world. I can see Jose in Mexico, Marisol in Argentina, Jorge in Colombia, and then we've got Chanda in Punjab, India, and Fatma in Oman. So thank you, teachers. Yeah, Iqbal says yes. I think many teachers do have students like Matteo. Okay. All right, so let's come back to the 2 of us then. So the toolkit looks at each module in a similar format, doesn't it? Can you take us through what sort of format of each module takes?
Yes, absolutely. Well, basically, there's in each module, there are 3 parts. First, there's a self-study section, and it always has reflection questions to help you think about what your experience has been with this subject in the past, and then it delves into the practical applications of principles and strategies that can be used. And the last part, and I think it's great we're doing this in social media, is a group discussion. There's a proposal for a group discussion. So the ideal scenario would be for teachers who share a teaching context to discuss those things together. But I think that nowadays we can also take advantage of social media and online communities to have those sorts of exchanges as well.
Absolutely. So yeah, I just brought up the what do you call it? The index for module 3 there. So the introduction, principle 1, preparing for instruction delivery. Principle 2, provide scaffolding. Principle 3, use narratives and advance organizers. Apply those strategies and put them into practice. Okay. So I can see, yeah, we've been joined by quite a few teachers. This is a very popular topic, which we discovered yesterday when we were doing our mini event, 3 webinars on neurodiversity. Okay, so Serrana, if we just go in now to that very first principle. I mean, I think as teachers, we do this. We should do it probably more carefully, though, shouldn't we? We do prepare our instructions, but maybe we don't take all the considerations into account, do we? So what would be included in that first principle?
Well, exactly. An underlying principle of the whole toolkit actually is taking a proactive approach to try and understand what are the barriers that our learners may be facing, which obviously will be different from one context to another and from one learner to another. So once we understand what those barriers can be, we can plan ahead to anticipate them and take action to help them overcome them. So for example, some learners may have difficulties staying focused, while others in online lessons may have poor connections. And so they may have interruptions to the class because the connection breaks up in different moments. So thinking ahead, we can adapt our instructions, our whole delivery, but let's focus on instructions now, so that we will cater to the needs of those learners.
Excellent. So thank you for that. And teachers watching, how do you prepare for your delivery of instructions in class? Do you think about your learners? Do you think about how your choice of words? Do you think about the media that you might use to help you deliver those instructions? Okay, excellent. So, Serrana, I'm just looking at the toolkit now. So we're diving into the different strategies. Of course, these are primarily designed for the online classroom, aren't they? The strategies, but could they be also used in the physical space?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, and especially like nowadays, many physical classrooms also have available technology that can benefit from these things as well. But the thing of making sure that instructions are clear and concise and simple, and that the most important information is highlighted. Obviously, maybe zooming in is not possible in physical environments, but there are other ways in which we can point them to the most important information in the instructions. So learners will be able to follow that, and breaking instructions into steps. All of those things can be done in every context. Like a lot of this is just good practice that will work in every scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at strategy 3, make time for learner feedback and to check understanding. And I think many of us are guilty of checking understanding by simply saying, okay. And of course, that doesn't go far enough, does it? And I do like the third point there, create an environment where learners are easily able to say if they don't understand. Because I know a lot of learners don't want to make the teacher angry. That's how they feel, their words, not mine. But of course, we want to create that safe space, don't we?
Yes, and your previous point, like just asking, okay, or did you understand? It's just, we tend to do that a lot. And our learners tend to respond, yes, it's okay, or yes, I've understood. And many times it's not that they are lying to us. Many times they believe they've understood the instruction, but actually when they get to doing the task, they realize they didn't. So if we can find alternative ways to make sure that they've understood them. So asking instruction, checking questions is essential, in which they have to demonstrate that they've understood. And that helps you understand if you need to revisit the instructions because they weren't clear and provide further modeling or other techniques, but it also helps them realize it as well.
Absolutely. It's got a few comments I'd like to address. This one comes from Iqbal. Feedback basically to multi-sensory. Brilliant. Addresses all kinds of aptitude and intelligence types. But I was wondering if you could just explain a little bit more about what multi-sensory would involve in terms of giving instructions.
Yes, absolutely. On the one hand, what multisensory has to do with involving all the senses, of course. So using visual support, having, for example, it's possible to have a recording that students can later visit, colors to identify important information. But it's important that if we use colors, we use them consistently. Body language to accompany it. And it's especially, this multisensory approach is especially important in remote settings because students have a tendency, it's common for students to spend a long time just trying to focus their attention on the screen. So if we can involve all senses, it will help keep them engaged, which can be a challenge, and it can be especially challenging for some learners who have difficulty that maintaining attention or with executive functioning, which have to do with planning and organizing their work. So it's definitely very important to this multisensory approach to all teaching, but to thinking about that when giving instructions in particular. And I like this thing that they say, like it suggests that those learners with attention difficulties could have something to fiddle with, one of those different objects that have been especially developed for that, that really helps them. So they need to be moving, but they need to be paying attention to the screen. So that's one way to deal with that.
Yeah, and of course, doodling as well. I know we used to, it was considered bad classroom behavior in the past when listening to a teacher, but the students were doodling, just drawing pictures on their notebook. And of course, now, we're sort of the opposite. We do encourage that if it helps with concentration, if it helps with following the classroom input as well. I mean, yeah, I'm guilty of doing that as well. I have to fiddle with something. I usually keep clicking on my mouse, so I do apologize if you hear lots of clicks in the background. Okay.
The other one that I really like from there is the use of timers that really help learners and like manage time and organize the work. And there are many timers that you can use. Like there are lots of digital tools out there. What I usually do is I insert in my slides a YouTube video with a timer that counts back. So it's 5 minutes and it counts back, and so they can see it at all times. So they know how much time they have left for their tasks. That's also very helpful.
Love that. Just a quick question from Anuradha that I can actually answer. Yes, all of our live streams are recorded. You can find them on our Facebook page if you go to the top menu on your phone or on the desktop and just look for videos. Okay, excellent. And likewise, Taruf, don't worry, the recording will be available to watch on demand. There's another comment here from Iqbal. When the instructions are staged one at a time, students are also able to respond with specific language as to what is expected of them. But obviously, even if we do break down those instructions and give them one at a time, we still have to think about the delivery of those instructions, don't we? Okay. I'm not sure if you would agree with Khalid Mohammed's comment here. To prepare for inclusion, it's important to create a consistent routine, provide a visual schedule, prepare students for an upcoming transition?
Yes, absolutely. And you'll see actually when we get to principle 3, I believe, that it is about providing organizers. So it talks exactly about these things. It really helps learners when they know what's coming. So they know what's coming, they know why they are doing it, and they have the different steps. And so again, it's a kind of strategy that will benefit all learners. But for some learners who may have certain difficulties with those tasks, like planning ahead, organizing, controlling their anxiety, it's really useful to have this information in advance, definitely.
Okay. So let's skip ahead now to principle 2, provide scaffolding. So it kind of goes back to that comment, I think, from, is it Iqbal or Khaled, who said about breaking the instructions down into sort of more bite-sized pieces. So what else, when we talk about providing scaffolding to sort of be more inclusive with our instructions, what types of things might that include?
Well, definitely modeling it. It's not just taking all these previous considerations when giving the instructions, but actually modeling, so they see exactly what they are expected to do. If they can have an example of the product, the end product that they are expected to have when they complete the task, that's one form of scaffolding. I really like the concept of scaffolding, because it's very clear when you think of a building with scaffolds, right? That you need to have them while you're completing certain tasks, and you can slowly start removing them as learners become more autonomous. And of course, it can take many different forms. But with giving instructions in particular, all of these things, maybe at the beginning you have a complex task, so you break it into steps. You model the first step, you check instructions, learners do it, then they come back, we go to the next part. And maybe as they become more autonomous and they develop their skills to do these in more complex ways, you can give them more steps to do in the next time. That sort of thing.
Okay, excellent. And thank you again for breaking that down, or for the scaffolding. Excellent. Got a few other comments coming through now from teachers who are following this live discussion here on Teaching English. So this, okay, now this is a perfectly practical example that I've been called up on. So Taruf, so the font of the text is very small and it's not easily legible. You're absolutely right. That was just going through my mind as you were saying that. It was an issue that I brought up in a meeting today, and I'm guilty of doing that myself. I do apologize. Not to fear though, the toolkit can be downloaded. There's a link in the description of this video, but I will zoom in on the PDF document, so it makes it a bit easier when we continue sharing. So thank you, Taru, for calling me up on that. That's a good point.
And also,
well. If
Margaret,
students find that in class, tell your teacher you can't see it.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I remember, because this is the final version with a lot of like the visual communication style of the British Council, but there's another version which is also in PDF per module that considers this, and so they really pay attention to the font and the size and all of those things that also make it more inclusive, because it is part of it. Actually, when we talk about taking advantage of the technology, it also has to do with that, like using high contrast colors when you are showing the tasks that learners have to do in a size that is easy to read, that doesn't have too much information that will be hard for them to process, that you can zoom in and highlight. All of those things are also part of giving inclusive instruction. So yeah, brilliant comment.
Excellent. Yes, thank you for that. Louise just popped a link in the comments as well. So lots of links. You can find them on our Facebook page. You can find them on the description of this video, and Louise will direct you to the right page as well if you can't find it. Okay. So we looked at the first two principles, Serrana. Now let's take a look at principle 3. So I'm going to bring up the document again, and this time I promise to zoom in a bit more. So hopefully it's a bit more legible now. Serrana, can you tell us about principle 3?
Yes, this is actually what one of the comments was referring to, I believe. This of having narratives and advanced organizers. It's something that is very important to help learners who sometimes have difficulties to stay focused. So when they know what to expect, when there's a routine and they know what are the different stages of the lesson, what will happen in each stage, what will be the reason why you will be asked to perform whatever is asked of you in that stage, it really helps plan, organize, think ahead. And again, it will benefit all learners. I keep going back to this because it's like one of the underlying principles as well. Like when we implement these principles and strategies, we will be benefiting all of our learners. And that the learner variability is a norm rather than the exception. We have there's a lot of diversity in our classrooms, and each learner will have different needs that have to do with many different things. So this will help them all. Sorry, I went down a tangent there.
No, I just I saw a comment just came in now from Eric. This says multiple intelligence and learning styles should be considered as well. So I mean, it's a whole range of diversity in class that when we talk about inclusion, we mean literally including everyone. So absolutely, so there is a lot to consider, but it does make life a lot easier for everyone in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so exactly. So learning preferences, because we need to keep learners motivated and engaged, but there's also the background, the social background of the learners, which will be reflected on many things. But for instance, the devices that they have to connect when we think about remote teaching, the kind of connections that they have, their previous experience with online learning environments. Those are all things that we might have to provide scaffolding for them to get to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. As Abdul Munaim says, differentiation as well. So obviously making our lesson content accessible to everyone, but also being aware of the different strengths and needs of our learners as well. Okay, lots and lots of great comments. We'll come back to that comments in a second. Let's see how far we've got with our principles. So principle 3 then, using narratives and advanced organizers. You mentioned there, I think something that a lot of teachers face is keeping our learners focused on topic, on task, is often quite a struggle for us, isn't it?
Yes, and for them to have, like, if they have the agenda always visible or somewhere they can refer back to it, so they know where they are at within the class. So I'm on stage 3 and I know there are 3 more things to go. That kind of thing, it's really helpful. That's what we refer to when we talk about agendas. And again, revisiting the reasons why we do things.
Yes, again, it's understanding why, isn't it? That sort of helps us really get the best out of these strategies. So we talked about the kind of the format of the toolkit, Serrana. So we look at the index, the introduction, the case study, the thinking about the situation, and the 3 principles. Then what comes next in terms of the toolkit modules?
I'm not sure I've understood the question, Marcus, but I think, okay, because the module follows is self-study, then which has all these principles and strategies. The next part is applying. So there's an invitation to apply these things in the classroom and reflect about the results of of all these practical applications. And then there's the discussion. There's a great emphasis on being able to have conversations with colleagues, because I know that I've learned so much from my colleagues on these issues as well, like sharing techniques and strategies that have worked, and some things may work with some groups and not with others. So we always have to adapt to the unique characteristics of the students in front of us.
That's right. So again, it gives you I mean, as you work through the toolkit, obviously every teacher is in a different situation with different needs, and the strategies that may apply would be different in each classroom. But the important thing, as you mentioned there, definitely apply it, experiment, maybe make some tweaks. Some things might not work as well as you'd hoped, and other things might work better than you had hoped. Okay, all right, let's go back to the shot of both of us, and let's have a look at the final comments coming through from teachers. Okay, this is an opinion, I think shared by Claudia here. I think we should teach I think we should teach a class for just 40 minutes. What's your opinion? Because a lot of what we have talked about is getting our students to stay focused. And I think one of the biggest barriers to that is time.
Absolutely.
So in order for, let's say, a class of young teenagers to remain focused, what would be the sort of ideal class time? Not that we have any power to change things, but 40 minutes?
Probably. And then we have like maybe separated between different modules in which they have other activities where they activate other skills in between. But truth is, it's just not really doable. And for instance, the program where I work at, the classes are 2.5 clock hours each. So of course we encourage teachers to have breaks and to have like lots of active pauses and micro breaks. But it's still, of course, it's very hard to keep learners engaged for such long periods. So yes, I guess that would be ideal, but I don't think it's really doable in many contexts.
Absolutely. Got a comment here from Zara. The ideas are very speculative, but we find it difficult to apply these ideas to students in a classroom, in the real classroom. So what would you say in response to Zara?
Well, thank you for that feedback. But actually, the toolkit was developed like doing classroom observations and trying to identify the needs, but also good practices that teachers actually do use in their classrooms. And it's been my recent experience that teachers have been able to implement, maybe not all of them, because not everything applies to all contexts. And this was especially developed for remote teaching. So many of these things maybe don't apply or aren't that effective in a physical environment. But I do believe that they can be applied in the classroom. I would recommend trying it out and then coming back to the discussion with colleagues and see if it's worked or not and why. And so maybe we can think of alternatives together.
Exactly. Okay, Zara. So what Serrana recommends, I would recommend as well. Do download the toolkit. See to take one of the modules that is most applicable to your situation and just try a strategy. Okay, thank you for that. What else we got? A comment here from Abd. Nowadays, learners are affected by watching videos from TikTok and YouTube with limited time, about 3 to 5 minutes. I'll probably say even shorter than that. Yeah. And that has a negative aspect on their concentration. So we're really we're responding to this lowering of attention span with a lot of these strategies, aren't we? I mean, I don't think we can fight against the social media trends that are going on, but are there any, I guess, piece of advice that you might give to, let's say, parents of their children or teenagers who have noticed a sort of decline in attention span? Are there any tips you might share with parents on this?
Well, I'm not sure if parents and teachers, I think everyone alike, it's helping learners become aware of that and helping just like avoid distractions. So what can you do when you have to focus on a task? What can you do to avoid distractions? So turn off all other notifications when you have to be focusing on this. Make some time when you are not connected. And of course, there are some things that require intense practice for sustained times in order to master whatever you're trying to learn. So we need learners to understand that. It's just not everything can be digested in videos from 3 to 5 minutes. So they need to develop the ability of sustained attention. And it is definitely one of the challenges. And while we can do different things to make sure that we help them put their attention where it should be, at the same time, we can have lots of that sort of active breaks where they are using the language, but changing, like moving around, like go open the fridge, come back, tell us what you were able to smell, that sort of thing that's been suggested by many practitioners. Still, we need to help them, and we need to help them become self-assess, like what their concentration abilities are, and help them slowly, like make it grow and move away from their comfort zones that limits their attention span.
Absolutely. A few responses to, sorry, there's one comment. I'll come back to that in a second. Salam mentioned studies show that kids can concentrate the first 10 to 15 minutes. Therefore, teachers should minimize their talk and give kids suitable and applicable tasks. Another comment from Khalid Mohammed. Chunking is important to sustain the focus of students. All right. There was that question. It's quite a meaty question. Not sure if we can respond to it in the final sort of minute here, but Khalid asks, sometimes we encounter a class with different disabilities, yeah, of course, as well as students. How can a teacher include them all? I mean, this is what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah,
inclusion.
Exactly. Yes, it's hard because it's very broad. Like the kind of disabilities our learners may have can be like from visual impairments to hearing ones to other, like there's all sorts of. So there are, like, of course, a battery of strategies that can be applied for each of those. Like when we talk about remote teaching for visual impairments, we can make use of available technology. So there are screen readers. Some learners have someone supporting them to help them describe what's happening, but also teachers describing everything that they are showing. It's very important when you have a learner with those characteristics. But again, so there's so many that it's a very broad question. But definitely there are many things to do, and we can, because something that I like about this toolkit is that you don't need to be an expert on special educational needs to apply these strategies, but with certain students, we will need to find an expert to guide us on the best ways to accompany a student, in particular when the disabilities are really require us to make enough adaptations for them to really be included in the classroom.
Absolutely. Serrana, thank you so much. And teachers, do make sure that you download this free toolkit for inclusive teaching strategies. There are 7 modules there. They may not all apply in your particular teaching context. As Serrana mentioned, they were primarily designed for remote teachers, but as you've seen from module 3 that we've looked at today, how to give inclusive instructions, obviously has in-person classroom applications as well. So there's a link in the description of this video. Louise is also posting links in the live chat, and you can also find some posts on our Facebook page that will direct you to the Toolkit for Inclusive Teaching Strategies that was developed by our colleagues in the Americas. Serrana, thank you so much for going through the toolkit, or at least module 3, with us, and helping us to answer some of the questions from teachers following us from around the world. So thank you so much for joining us. And teachers, thank you so much for joining us, and do continue the conversation in the comments.